Alright guys, welcome back. So in the last video here, we talked about reading files here. Now let's talk about writing the text files, okay? So let's go ahead and make a new file here. We're going to say writing to text files.py. Alright, so before we start with here, we need to have three letters we have to talk about here. The first being, X, then we have a W, and then we have an A, okay? So first thing, let's talk about the X from here. The X, although it's a little weird here, X stands for create here. So you guys saw in the last video here, we had this R right here. Now we're going to use an X in place of the R, and that's going to create a file. And, well, let's just show you guys here. So we're going to say file equals, and we're going to say open. Now we're going to give the file a name here. Let's just name this here, new file.txt, followed by X. And we're going to save this program from here. And then if we run this program here, you're going to see it creates a file over here in the same directory, okay? New file, just like that there, okay? Now this is good, but it's also bad too here, because if I save this and I try to run this again here, we're going to see we run into an issue here where we have an error. So the X throws an error. It's going to create a file first off here. So we'll say, we'll say X creates a file, but throws error if file already exists. All right, so that could be good, it could be bad based on use case here, but the X stands for create, okay? So now the W, what does the W stand for? Well, the W stands for write. W stands for write. And the write works a little differently here. What I can do here is, let's say file equals open, and we're going to give this file name. Let's say my file2, file2.txt, and then we'll say comma here, and we'll pass in the W. And then what we'll do here was we'll say file.write, and let's pass in some information. This is a new file. And let's go ahead and save this from here. Now, why are we running the issues from here? We are spaced in by mistake there. Cool. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm also going to add a print statement here. This way we can see when the file is done here. This way it prints out the console, we know it's done, okay? So let's go ahead and say Python, and we'll say writing to file here. We're going to run this file here, and now it's done. And now we have my file2.txt. So writing is good, but check this out here. If I run this file again here, and we'll say this is a new file, today is a great, let's do this here. We're going to remove this here, and let's say something like, I don't know, today is Tuesday. It is an awesome day. Save it, and we run this file again here. It's going to finish up here, so we don't throw any errors like we saw with the create here. But we'll see it overwrit what it had before here. So write is good, but it creates a file, writes to it, but also overwrites it. And again, that could be good, that could be bad based on your use case here, okay? Now, what we could also do, just like we saw in the last video here, instead of using this format where I actually forgot to close the file, it should be file.close. That would be the proper way to do it here. You could also do it with the loop that we talked about in the last video here. If I go with open and I type in, my file2.txt, comma here, and we pass in W, colon, and then we say file.write, and we say something like, file.write with open, as file, and we'll say something like, done a little bit differently this time. Save, and I run this file again. We'll see we get the same result here, but now we're using this loop right here, and this way we don't have to close the file once we're done here. Okay. Another one from here, we could also do the A, and the A stands for append. So the append is going to kind of add to this previous file from there. Okay. So first off here, what happens if we don't have a file here? So let's go with open, and we'll do my, in quotes, my file3.txt here, comma A, as file, colon, and we'll say file.write, and we'll say something like here, this is a new file. Let's go ahead and save this here, and let's go ahead and run this file from here. Done, and we're going to open up my file3, and we see this is a new file from there. Now let's go ahead, and we have the same code here, but let's change up this text a little bit. This way we can see a little better here. I'm not sure if I mentioned it during the string formatting here, but a \n means new line character from there. So we'll say this is some new information. Save, and then we run this file again here. Python writing the files here, and then we go back to my file 3, which is the same as A here. We can see it now. I added some more information from there. If I save it and I run it again, we'll see that it adds some more information from there. So this \n means new line here, and you can use this for logging data. You could use it for, I mean, geez, sky's the limits from here. You can use it anytime somebody gets a score in a video game. Maybe they have a file of all the moves they made. Maybe you design some type of chess game or some type of tic-tac-toe here. You could go back and have all the moves that they made scored there, okay? Stored there, I should say. All right, guys, that's going to be it with this video here. Before we talked, excuse me, in the previous video, we talked about writing to a file here. Now we're talking about, man, I'm sorry. In the previous video, we talked about reading from a file. This is how we write to a file. So just remember here, we have 3 different letters from here, which actually didn't finish a pen, but that's okay. A pen creates a file and will add to it. Okay, so X equals creates a new file here, but throws an error if the file already exists here. The W creates a file and writes to it, but also overwrites it. So you don't have to worry about if the file already exists or not here, because if the file already exists, it's just going to overwrite it here. And then the A will append. It's going to add to the file from there. Okay, and with that, guys, I think you guys are good to go. All right, guys, great job with this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.